There's a unique thrill that comes with rolling dice on a battlefield set centuries in the past, maneuvering carefully painted armies of soldiers in intricate formations across a tabletop. Historical miniature wargaming isn't just a game, it's an immersive blend of strategy, history, and artistry that brings the past to life in a way few hobbies can. Whether it's commanding Napoleonic infantry in a daring bayonet charge, orchestrating Roman legion tactics against barbarian hordes, or recreating a medieval siege with siege engines and archers, historical miniature wargaming offers something for everyone. In this post, we'll explore the various aspects that make historical miniature wargaming so enjoyable, from the creativity and craftsmanship involved in building your army, to the excitement of researching historical conflicts, and the satisfaction of executing a well-laid plan on the battlefield. Crafting armies. The joy of miniature modeling. One of the first things that draws many people to historical miniature wargaming is the chance to craft and paint their own armies. The miniatures themselves can range from 6mm tiny figures to larger, highly detailed 28mm or 40mm models. Each figure, whether it's a knight in gleaming armor or a cavalryman on horseback, is a blank canvas waiting to be brought to life with paint. For many, the process of assembling and painting miniatures is as rewarding as the game itself. The satisfaction of turning a plain piece of metal or plastic into a vibrant, detailed character from history is immense. The creativity involved in painting the miniatures allows you to personalize your armies, while still staying true to historical accuracy if you wish. For example, painting a regiment of French infantry for a Napoleonic battle or a unit of Zulu warriors for the Anglo-Zulu War can be an engaging task. Historical wargaming communities often emphasize research, encouraging players to delve into historical resources to accurately portray uniforms, heraldry, and banners. Yet not every painter is a perfectionist or historian. Some prefer to strike a balance, making their army look good on the table, while not getting bogged down in the minutiae of history. The fun comes from seeing a finished army arrayed on the battlefield, ready for action, no matter the level of detail. The thrill of historical research. Miniature wargaming is a gateway into a deep well of historical research. Most games are set in a specific historical period, and to play well, a basic understanding of the period's tactics, armaments, and strategies is often required. For instance, understanding how a Roman phalanx was deployed, how medieval knights fought on horseback, or how trench warfare unfolded in World War I can enhance gameplay significantly. The research aspect is a delight for history buffs, as it allows players to immerse themselves in the eras they recreate on the tabletop. You can learn about famous generals, pivotal battles, and the evolution of military technology. This background knowledge can inform your tactical decisions in the game. For example, when recreating the Battle of Waterloo, knowing how the Prussian army's late arrival turned the tide for the Allies can lead to interesting strategic decisions during gameplay. Should you wait for your reinforcements, or commit your forces early and risk being overwhelmed? Historical miniature wargaming also encourages players to look beyond the famous battles and explore lesser-known conflicts. The pike and shot era, for example, offers a fascinating intersection of late medieval and early modern warfare. Likewise, the 30 Years' War, with its shifting alliances and complex battle formations, provides a unique challenge for tacticians. By delving into these more obscure periods, players expand their knowledge of history while engaging in scenarios that are less predictable and widely known. The art of strategy. At the heart of historical miniature wargaming is strategy. Unlike board games or card games, which rely heavily on chance or simple tactical choices, wargames demand in-depth planning, resource management, and knowledge of both your own army's strengths and weaknesses and your opponent's. Historical wargames often mimic the limitations of real-world communication, logistics, and technology, making for a more immersive experience. In many cases, the armies on the tabletop behave much as they would have in real life. For example, in a game set during the American Civil War, infantry regiments armed with rifled muskets might have the advantage of range, but cavalry could play a crucial role in flanking maneuvers and disrupting supply lines. Likewise, artillery could decimate infantry formations, but its effectiveness is often limited by range, terrain, and line of sight. Balancing these elements requires a deep understanding of the strengths and weaknesses of your army and of historical warfare tactics. One of the joys of wargaming is figuring out how to turn historical constraints into strategic advantages. For example, Napoleonic tactics relied on massed formations, and the effective use of combined arms, infantry, cavalry, and artillery working together. But how does that play out on a smaller, skirmish-level game? Similarly, the era of pike and shot saw a blend of melee troops and early gunpowder weapons. Players must use historical formations like the tercio, where pikemen defended musketeers from cavalry to gain the upper hand. The unpredictability of the dice roll adds a layer of excitement too. Even the best-laid plans can go awry, just as they did in historical battles. That uncertainty forces players to adapt, think on their feet, and make tough decisions, just like real commanders did. But it's not all about luck. Good strategy can mitigate bad rolls, and skilled players will often find ways to turn setbacks into opportunities. Immersive storytelling, bringing history to life. Another great aspect of historical miniature wargaming is the immersive storytelling that naturally evolves from the game. Each battle tells a story, shaped not just by the historical context, but by the player's decisions. Whether you're reenacting a famous engagement like the Battle of Hastings or crafting a what-if scenario, the events that unfold on the tabletop create a narrative full of twists and turns. For example, imagine you're recreating the Siege of Vienna in 1683. The Ottoman forces are at the gates of the city, and the Polish cavalry is rushing to relieve the besieged Austrians. You've played the Polish commander, and your cavalry charge has arrived just in time, smashing through Ottoman lines. But what if you arrive too late? Or what if the Ottomans manage to breach the city walls first? These moments of tension and drama elevate the game from a simple simulation to a full-fledged narrative experience. Wargamers often find themselves getting attached to their miniatures, almost as if they're real commanders and soldiers on the battlefield. Over time, campaigns can develop where units gain reputations for heroism or failure, with players creating personal histories for them. Some wargamers even name individual units or characters, giving them personalities and creating continuity from one game to the next. This narrative element makes historical miniature wargaming more than just a hobby. It becomes an exploration of what could have been. While historical events serve as a foundation, wargaming allows players to tweak variables, replay battles with different strategies, and imagine alternate outcomes. It's a fun and interactive way to engage with history on a personal level. Social connections and community. Beyond the hobby itself, historical miniature wargaming has a strong social component. Many players start their journey in the hobby through a local club or gaming store, where they meet like-minded individuals who share their passion for history and strategy. The social interactions around wargaming are often as enjoyable as the games themselves, whether it's debating historical tactics, discussing the merits of different miniatures ranges, or simply swapping stories from the tabletop. Wargaming clubs are a great place to learn too. Veterans of the hobby are often more than willing to share tips on painting, rules interpretation, and strategy with newcomers. The camaraderie and shared enthusiasm make the learning curve less daunting and more enjoyable. Many players also participate in tournaments, historical reenactments, and conventions where they can meet others from around the world. These events are great opportunities to see beautifully painted armies, try new rule sets, and learn from other players. They also foster a sense of community that transcends the individual game. Whether it's online or in person, wargamers form lasting friendships through their shared love of history and gaming, customization, and flexibility in rule sets. Another aspect of fun in historical miniature wargaming is the flexibility of rule sets. Unlike other forms of wargaming, historical games often feature a wide variety of systems tailored to different periods, scales, and styles of play. For instance, rules for large-scale battles like Black Powder are designed to handle hundreds of miniatures on the table, while skirmish games like Saga or Sharp Practice focus on smaller engagements. Many rule sets allow for customization, giving players the freedom to tweak mechanics to better fit their preferences or historical period. For example, if you're interested in a very niche period like the 30 Years' War or colonial conflicts in Africa, you might find a general rule set that can be easily adapted to suit your needs. This flexibility makes the hobby welcoming to both casual gamers and historical purists. Some players like fast, easy-to-learn rules that allow them to get miniatures on the table quickly, while others prefer complex simulations with deep mechanics. There's room for all types of players in the world of historical miniature wargaming. Conclusion: more than a game. At its core, historical miniature wargaming is about more than just winning or losing. It's about the journey, the creativity, and the love of history. Whether you're meticulously painting 18th century redcoats devising strategies for a decisive battle, or delving into historical research, the hobby offers countless ways to have fun and engage with the past.